Welcome to Mic Drop, the podcast where relevancy is irrelevant and we don't give a shit about your feelings.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a distinct honor and a pleasure to bring to you my next guest on the podcast. She is a mom, and I lead off with that, and that is not a fucking accident. She is a New York Times best-selling author. She is one of the stars of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She's currently on the Pretty Mess tour. She has 8, you heard that right, fucking 8, #1 Dance Billboard Club chart hits.
Thank you.
That's 8 of them. She owns the Shoe Dazzle line as well as Too Faced Makeup.
Collaborated with.
We'll call it own. She owns that shit. She owns everything she does. Too Faced Makeup. And in case any of you were wondering, she actually just taught me how to do the Running Man out in the hallway in less than 5 minutes.
Which is a miracle.
Please welcome to the stage, Erika Jayne.
Aw, thank you. Are you ready for your listeners to go, what the fuck is this?
I am. This is so far outside the wheelhouse, and I love it. I mean, that's true mic drop fashion is to have a guest like you that is way outside the realm of what I'm used to. And,
but I'm more than a guest because we're friends.
Right. We've known each other for almost 4 years
That's
now.
right, yeah.
Which is hard to believe. So for those of you listening, she has a dog from me named Tiago, who is one of my favorite dogs. I couldn't be happier that he's with you. But
he's never coming back, and he's perfect. And we need Tiago puppies,
yeah,
Mike.
I know it.
I'm looking at you real hard.
Yeah.
We gotta find some. We gotta breed this dog.
Yeah, we will get it done. No doubt about it. One of the things I like to ask everybody is what their morning routine is. Now, I know it depends on where you're at, whether you're touring on the road or at home, but for the sake of the listener, I would say just kind of a normal at-home, not a ton of shit going on morning routine. What does that look like for you?
I'm usually up between 4:30 and 5. I put on my sweats. I grab the dog. He and I jump in my truck. We go to Starbucks every morning, quietly with no music in the car, and we come home and I start walking him. And that's my morning routine. And the sun rises and I'm able to start my day. And that's before I speak to anyone or anything. I just kind of spend time quietly with the dog. Maybe we'll go sit in the library for 10, 15 minutes. I'll try to meditate. It doesn't always happen, but I prefer to start my day in silence.
Yeah. So with the Starbucks routine, do you get anything to eat or you just get something to drink?
No, I just get my venti Americana with 1 pump of mocha and room at the top. They know me when they see the black Mercedes whip in with the dog in the back. She's here.
Oh, that's good shit. So when's the first time you eat in the day? Is it like afternoon?
It depends. I've been eating once every 24 hours these last few days, mostly because I'm stressed out and we're on the road. I have no appetite right now. But when I do, all I want to eat is protein. Usually, if I'm at home and everything is pretty normal, I'll probably eat around 9 a.m.
9 a.m., no shit. Is it anything in particular? Like
it's usually egg whites.
Egg whites, yeah.
Yeah.
What is Erika Jayne's cheat meal?
Shit, what isn't Erika Jayne's cheat meal? Erika Jayne loves some fast food. I like everything. I want to eat cake and brownies and fries, and I mean, I know there's a Chick-fil-A right up here right now. Like, I've already scoped out everything. It's just as bad as it gets. I like food. I love to eat. I really do.
So you can't even narrow it down. Just whatever you can get.
Whatever I can get my hands on, man.
I fucking love it. What is your workout regimen? I know one of the things I asked you not too long ago, we were talking about some of the workouts that I've been posting.
Oh, my God. Your workouts are like maniac workouts.
Well, but you were talking about rehearsals. Like, I mean, that's hard.
That's maniac workout, too. Yeah. But it's different in the sense of, so the workouts that you post, like you posted something about an Airdyne today. I have an Airdyne at home. It's like my favorite bike in the whole world.
Yeah, that's a ball buster.
It's a great one, right? Yeah. I love to row like you like to row. So when I get in the gym, I do workouts that are very similar to yours. Not as many, and not as heavy. God damn it. Yeah. But when we're rehearsing, like for this show that we're doing now, it's almost impossible for me. Now, the boys do that are in my show. They work out and rehearse, but, it's a lot of cardio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dance is an underrated sport, and dancers are underrated athletes in general because it's full body, it's explosive.
Sure.
It's hard.
No, I don't doubt it. I mean, so do the workouts that you do outside of rehearsal supplement or augment your ability to
They
rehearse?
would be in order to increase your conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Yes.
Very function or purpose driven.
100%.
Yeah.
To be fast and to be and to have stamina, honestly.
Yeah.
Strength and stamina.
Sure. What is something that about you that maybe, I mean, at this point, I think everybody knows just about
Everybody knows just about everything about me. At this point.
Is there anything you can share that would surprise most people about you?
I don't know. I'm afraid of the dark, which I think is something I'll never get over.
Oh, shit.
I'm very afraid of the
Does
dark.
that stem from childhood?
Yes,
or?
it does.
Yeah.
I just I don't like it. I panic in the dark, and I don't and I don't like to go to it's Halloween now, or Halloween time, and I don't like to go to haunted houses for that reason. I don't know. Something happened. I don't know, and I just do not like the dark.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, I hear you. I actually enjoy the dark.
Do you really?
Yeah, I mean, I do, because I think from spending so many years in the SEAL teams, and that's where where we practice and operate, like diving underwater, it's pitch fucking black.
That would scare the shit out of me. Not being underwater, but in the dark.
Yeah.
Not knowing what I'm looking. Not being able to see what's coming.
Yeah. Well, and in the water, it's magnified because like shit will brush up next to you.
Hell
and you have
no.
no idea what the fuck it is.
Hell fucking no.
Yeah.
I would quit. No.
Yeah. So I mean, it makes the dark, when you can hear and talk and normal and move normally, like, it makes it not nearly as big of a deal. I think.
That's very brave of you.
Yeah.
I could never do it.
But I think I was just too dumb to quit. But
that's okay too. I'm too dumb to quit. I mean, look at me. I'm too dumb to quit too.
Yeah. All right. So this is probably an impossible question. I have seen your shoe wardrobe. Your house is on fire. You get to keep one fucking pair of shoes. What do you run out in?
Oh shit! Probably my white pair of hooker pumps. My white patent leather hooker. Yeah. Well, yes, of course.
Oh, that's good shit. Favorite country and venue that you've ever performed in?
Well, I mean, my favorite country is my home country, the United States of America. Favorite venue? I don't know. I would break it up by city because each city has a different personality. We're here in Dallas tonight. Tomorrow we give the show, and I know that it's going to be a really good time. New York City, it's a different crowd. Miami, it's a different thing. So it would be hard to say venue. Craziest venue I've ever performed at? On the flight deck of the USS Enterprise, which I'm sure we'll get to.
Yeah. Yep. I got
that was fucking bizarre, yes, that was crazy.
That's awesome. Do you have a favorite city worldwide you've ever been to?
Favorite city? No. I love them all equally for different reasons.
Yeah.
But if I was probably Roman in a past life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen. Biggest pain in the ass housewife?
Where do I begin? For different reasons.
Yeah.
Some of them because they're petty, others because they manipulate, others because they love the camera, others because, so it's all different. Mm-hmm. But this year, I'm actually having a really nice time with the girls. It's interesting, once you really get to know people. And I'm someone that's very slow to open up, as everybody kind of knows. I'm very slow. Yeah.
So there were several things in the book that surprised me that you shared in there, even though I know this is kind of a watered down version or it's over edited, but one of the things that made me think of it, just generally speaking, is from the housewife perspective. Again, after reading it in your book, which one would you most likely have a threesome with?
Oh, I'm not, none of them. Well, Denise Richards joined.
Yeah.
Charlie Sheen's ex-wife, Denise. She's a Bond girl, so I would say Denise now.
Yeah. She's a
Denise. Denise. I'm sure could put it down.
Yeah. I don't doubt it. All right, so I read your book, and
thanks.
There's a lot of things in there, honestly, that surprised me. That even knowing you for several years now, that I didn't know, and I wouldn't have expected, I guess. And I've pulled a couple excerpts and outlined some of the questions that I'd love to ask. But the first thing, was growing up. I was surprised by the informality of the relationship that you had with your mom, Renee. And I just wanted to pull.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Why did you have a formal relationship with your parents?
Yeah, absolutely. I did.
See, I did not. Yeah. I mean, you're right about that.
Like I would have never. I remember I called my dad George once, and he
knocked the shit out of
you.
you.
Well, no, he looked at me like,
do that
fucking
again.
Try it again.
Wow.
And granted, I was like 15, and that was the first time I ever even tried it, But I don't think I've ever called my mom Sandy to her face.
Right.
Even to this day, not that she'd, backhand me. I mean, my family was like the fucking Leave It to Beaver household.
I did not grow up that way.
Yeah, it was totally different. But here's the excerpt that really kind of hit me was, she treated me like an adult when she really shouldn't have. I think she expected me to understand or process certain situations in a more adult manner than I was able to. especially when it came to work and money. There's a fine line between keeping kids totally in the dark and telling them the adult truth. I don't think she got that balance right, and she erred on the side of telling me more than I could handle. Because she was under tremendous pressure, I think she collapsed slightly in on herself. She had a hard time finding her strength. It was almost like she needed me to get us both through tough times. Being with that kind of mother made me grow up very fast. She always made me shake people's hands, look them in the eye, even as a kid. I was expected to act and present myself like a mini adult rather than a young child. So I'm curious.
Yes, that is true.
You know, to me, that what really hit me about that, and one of the things that I've met a lot of people that have done some pretty tremendous shit. That a lot of them have that similar kind of background where same thing. Like they had to grow up super fast and you know, were expected to behave, you know,
right away like an adult.
Like what reflecting on it now, I mean, you wouldn't be where you were had that not been, right?
Exactly. So that's the positive takeaway, is that my mother was 18. She married my father. He left when I think I was 6 to 9 months old, never to return. My mom had to go to work. We're from the South. She wanted me to have a certain sense of, you know, it was, that was it. No one was coming. In other words, like, this is it. Like, Erica, you have to grow up. We're doing this. And still to this day, you talk about money, it still freaks me out.
Yeah.
You know, I got a lot of it, and I'll never stop wanting it because I'm afraid not to have it.
Yeah.
So in my life, I wake up every day like, holy shit.
Like you gotta get out there.
I gotta fucking get out there and go make some more money because, and it's just kind of how I grew up. You know, fear either propels you or chains you.
Yeah.
And in my experience, it's pushed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wonder then, like, looking back on it now, do you feel like you were cheated of your youth? Like it was kind of stolen from you because of that?
No, I feel like given the situation that we were in, that was the best tool and was the best way out. So I have a great life now, and my mom, was just on the phone with my mom before you came over. It just kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, and you just kind of take that experience, roll with it, take the best of it, and move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I've been cheated out of anything in my life. It's pretty rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I notice a kind of a recurring theme throughout the entire book, and just knowing you as long as I have of that principle of you know, using everything that happens to you as a learning opportunity, which
Sure.
I'm the same way, but I found it funny and laughed out loud literally when you were talking about playing Val in a chorus line.
Oh yeah.
In the song titled "Tits and Ass" in a high school.
Oh yeah.
At a high school age. You know,
Yes. Well, I mean.
You know, what I'm curious, I guess, is that. Do you think did that contribute to the Erica Jane brand? Or,
Oh no, she was already there.
Or she was already there.
She was already there.
Yeah.
Like I was this way from the time I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
Like I was jumping on tables and performing, and to me, you know, Erica Jane is born of fantasy, love, escape, glitz, glamour, and fun. I did play Val in high school. Went to Performing Arts High School, and it is an adult role. I mean, looking back on it, I mean, it's kind of interesting that we were even allowed to play those things as kids.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
back
today's
then, it was
age,
fine,
yeah.
but you know, now people would have a meltdown. No, I was already, if I was a grown up at 3, you can imagine what I was at 14, 15. So you can imagine what I was at 14. Yeah, tits and ass was nothing, honey. I tell you.
Oh, that's great shit. Any chance of going back? I know that one of the things you said you still kind of reminisce about going back to Northside High. Like if
I would, but I don't think it exists. Now it's changed so much, you know, but yeah.
You
I
go
mean,
back
I
to the
still
old
dream of
theater.
it.
Yeah.
I still have dreams of being in 6th period and we're rehearsing.
Yeah. To me, it's funny because there's elements of my time in high school that I find myself, you know, kind of reminiscing about and thinking about going back and doing certain things too. It's weird how those experiences drive you. No two ways about it.
That's true.
So there was a kind of a tumultuous upbringing in terms of you know, your stepdad, you know, moving in and being, you know, marrying your mom twice.
Yeah, that was, I don't know. She married that son of a bitch twice. I don't know what that was all about.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, you know, looking back on it now, it's kind of a similar question. You know, did the impact of having him come and go and not be your real dad, but, you know, you developing a bond and, you know.
Well, then he adopted me.
Yeah.
And then he left again.
So, I mean, what?
is your question like, how do you think that affected me?
Yeah, I mean, what, like looking, reflecting on it now, similarly to, did your childhood feel cheated? Is that what kind of impacted the relationship?
I would have loved to have had a father that was there the whole time. I could only imagine the woman I would have been had I had a dad that was there full time, and I was given the proper education and the proper raising.
Yeah.
What a killer I would be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it did. I think it did affect me. But it also, again, you roll with those things, and you just got to keep going forward. I know that sounds so trite, but it's really true. But yeah, I did walk away loving men and not hating men. So that's the one thing. I have great relationships with men. I don't hate men or anything like that. So it didn't do that to me.
Do you think that it's impacted the men that you're attracted to or have been involved with?
I think that for me, I like men that can teach me something. I like mentors. My husband now is obviously much older than I am, and we've been together 20 years. And one of the things that I love the most about him is that he is an absolute genius in the law, and anything I asked him about that, he had an answer, and he taught me a lot of stuff that I didn't know. So, I would seek that out at any age. I always sought out men that could kind of, I don't know, like be mentors in my life, for sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm
sure it has some subtle.
Sure.
Some psychologists would look at me and say, like, hey, you're really damaged, and this is why you picked these people.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I mean, to me, let's be honest, any relationship you have with anybody, it's a give and take. Like, you got to get something out of it. It can't just be, let me help this person out or serve this purpose in their life.
Well, and especially if it's a long-term relationship. We're talking marriage, but yeah.
So one of the things, again, that struck me is as powerful and kind of sad, and I could empathize with you, is that, this is jumping ahead a little bit and we'll go back, but after turning 25, being out in California, you reconnect with your real dad. And it seems like he kind of has almost a mental brain fart and slips and says that he never had kids.
Yes, that's true.
Obviously that's a pretty negative impact, but where was your head at when that happened? Like how detrimental was that?
It wasn't, because I realized, because a voice inside said to me, Erica, there's nothing for you here.
Yeah.
Go back. This is not for you. This is not where you need to be. He has a new family and a new daughter. And you can imagine looking at your own daughter and saying, well, she never had any kids. I never had any kids. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, I'm standing in front of you, man.
Yeah.
So that was just, my mother, honestly, was more hurt in the moment than I was. And it was, she apologized. I'm so sorry, Erica. Like, I feel so bad. And I said, you know what, Mom, it's fine. There's nothing here for me. Kind of like I already knew, but I needed to make sure. Yeah. And so that's what happened.
When he said that, did it seem like he slipped, or it was intentional?
Babe. No, he slipped.
Yeah.
It wasn't intent. Like it, I mean, he really did not he didn't mean it. It wasn't harmful. He didn't mean it out of harm. He really did not equate me as his daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's I can't even wrap my mind
it
around
was
it.
It was a bizarre experience. I've had some people say some really bizarre shit to me, as you can imagine, but that was like, what? Yeah. That was, I found my dad, and we met, and I went to spend Thanksgiving with him and his wife and his young daughter, who's younger than my son. And when he said, she'd never had any kids and I never had any kids, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
What? And then he caught himself and he was like, oh, but I have you now.
Yeah.
And like put his arms around me, and I was like, it's too little too late. Yeah, it's too little too late.
Yeah.
But not in an angry way.
Yeah.
I wasn't angry. It was just final.
Yeah.
It was just very final.
Like more of a closure thing.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Yeah. Do you have any relationship with him now? Have you
Zero.
Zero. Yeah.
No contact.
Has he tried to reach out to you? No.
And I don't think he would. I don't think he's that kind of man.
Yeah.
He's not that man.
Yeah. So you grow up, performing and kind of chasing that lifestyle to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Your mom and you moved to New York to continue pursuing
Chase that
career.
dream.
And you end up dancing in, what I would coin as vanilla strip clubs.
Oh, very vanilla compared to what's really going on.
It's no Spearmint Rhino Vegas like.
No, I wasn't making that kind of cash, and I wasn't that kind of girl, and I even said it in the book. I wish I was, though. Shit.
Yeah. I guess one of the things that I found humorous about it, I guess, is just all of the bullshit that you put up with, like, for for going through, you know, and being in the position that you were in, you know, similar, that recurring theme of like using everything you can to your advantage and making the best of every situation, you know, that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was 18 years old. I was living in Manhattan. The rent had to be paid. You know, I was auditioning. Sometimes I was getting the job. Sometimes I wasn't. And when I wasn't, I was working in Jersey at a low end, you know, what they call go-go bar, you know, and within the confines of that whole life, and it was very Goodfellas, and I'll leave it right there. You know, I had a hard time watching The Sopranos for a long. I couldn't. Everybody was watching The Sopranos, and I was like, no,
because
I don't. The bada bing. I didn't want to see it. I knew it. What are you talking about? Like that? No, I'm good. I lived it. It's okay. Thanks.
Yeah. One of the another poignant life lesson that I drew from the book that. Is an excerpt that I want to read, I think is just important for people to hear. And again, it's kind of falls in line with that recurring theme of you state, I've never been one to knock where someone else comes from or what they had to do to get where they are today. It's easy for people to pass judgment. I never like slut shaming or any other kind of shaming. I always want to tell people that when you're putting $1 on a woman's bra, you have no idea whom you're tipping. You know where that is going. You don't know what is going to happen to anyone or where they'll end up. I certainly never look down on a woman hustling to make a buck. I've been that woman, and all of that hustling makes every buck even more precious. I learned the value of $1 at Shakers. Which is ironic. Sitting in the Gulf Stream across the street a decade later, I still knew it. That's the real lesson of money. You earn your self-worth working for those stupid dollars. I always dreamed so big that I could imagine one day having my own airplane, even though I didn't understand there was a private airport across the street from the very spot I was scrounging for tips.
That's the hard, cold fucking truth.
Yeah, but you know, to me, I think without a doubt, there's, and you probably run into this way more than I can even, you know, try to formulate into a few words, is that, you know, people probably just assume that you never had to work for what you have. I mean,
that's right.
You know, and
because it looks a certain way now.
Sure.
You know.
And I think, you know, to me, what was refreshing about, I mean, not that I didn't know that already, but hearing your words and seeing the quotes and kind of the verbatim, you know, experiences that you went through that really, I think, speak to the average American, you know, that most people don't realize about you, that I think is really fucking important for people to understand is the things that you've gone through to be where you're at are not fucking
glamorous.
Disney. They're not, you know, they're tough. You've been through a lot of experiences that would break most people. And I think a lot of times people in the positions, you know, maybe some of the other housewives, and I'm not judging any of them. I don't know them from a fucking can of paint, but
well, they've got their own stories too.
You know, but the fact is that you've been through way more than I think probably people realize, and I like that about this book is how it's laid out in terms of teaching that lesson. Can you kind of expound on what that was like the first time you flew back in a private jet and landed across the street from where you were getting tips?
God. So, this is at Teterboro. We landed our Gulfstream. It's so great, right? Yeah. So we land the Gulfstream, and I could see to the right, on the right, you know, there's the access road, and we got in the car, and, you know, Tom is very cool. He's a great guy. And the reason I've been married to Tom for 20 years is because he's like me. He scrounged, and he's made everything, you know, he's a kid from, Westchester by LAX airport, you know, just with a big dream and a really bright mind. So we drove past the first time we drove by Shakers, and I thought, holy shit, I used to work there. Like, you know, oh my God, like, should I say something? And I didn't.
Yeah.
And it was only like a couple of trips later, I'm talking like 6 months, a year later, I finally had the guts to say, I mean, Tom knew a lot of my story, but, you know, sometimes, you know, as women, you kind of leave shit out, you know, because, I mean,
well,
even
guys
though this
do the
is,
same shit.
Yeah, I mean, even though this is my husband, right? But you never know, like, yeah, by the way, you know, like I had told him, but I hadn't like told him. Yeah. And so when we drove by, I finally just said, you know what, fuck it. Hey, T, guess what? By the way, you see this place right here? Yeah. I used to work there. And that's when he's like, hey, we got to go in there. Yeah. Stop the car. Let's turn around. I was like, you're going to do what? Like, we're going to do what? Yeah. But I could see when we were in there, you know, Mike, like his eyes lit up. And I think that he knew my story. Yeah. But when you sit there and you actually witness it, it's a whole nother thing.
Yeah. No, I can imagine.
It's very revealing.
Yeah. How was there any awkwardness in sitting there, or was it funny, or what?
It was the afternoon with one lonely girl on the stage. One lonely girl, and the smell of chicken grease in the back. No shit had changed. It was still ugly, terrible lighting, and she was still doing her thing. God bless her, wherever she may be, that one lonely girl. And you know what? We had a couple of beers, and then we got in the car and went into the city.
Yeah.
And
Did you talk to her and say, I used to fucking be here?
No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
But she was just, collecting her dollar.
Yeah. She's
I mean, this is not the Spearmint Rhino. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. No, I know it. No, that's a whole different level.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So speaking of working there, that's where you met your first husband, correct? Or in that
In the city, I met that. Yeah.
In the same type of environment. Is it another Tom club DJ?
Yeah.
You get, I don't know what it is with a guy's named Tom, apparently, right?
Yeah, right. I know. I got 3 of them in my life. Yeah.
So you get married, get pregnant at 20.
Yes.
But from what I read in the book, and I'm not surprised, but it seems like you kind of very naturally took to being a mom without any type of real
I didn't have
guidance or.
No brothers, no sisters, no one to really show me, but I just kind of figured it out.
Yeah. One of the things I'm always curious about is that at that point in your life, how was being a mom at that age? How did that change your perspective, generally speaking?
Well, I'm glad I did it then and not now, because I was too dumb to realize the gravity of the situation.
Yeah.
To think that I could be 20 years old, have a baby, and still perform and be, and still chase my dreams and be married. Like, who the fuck thinks that that's possible other than a dumb 20-year-old, right?
Yeah.
Like, I look back on myself and I think, my God, you idiot. But it changes your perspective because, now it's not just yourself you're thinking of, you're also thinking of your child. And that definitely pulls you back a little bit. You're not so, free to run off or do whatever it is that you used to do before.
Sure. And this is another thing, again, that I was surprised to read, but I was like, holy shit. It was back in 93, you talk about pushing him in the stroller and going around the World Trade Center. And that was one day because of the shitty weather, you weren't there. Like, there's a good chance that you wouldn't be fucking sitting here right now right?
Well, I've missed it twice, and I'll tell you how I've missed it twice. It's not in the book because I didn't put it in there. So yes, we lived in Battery Park City, and it was in February, and I did not take the baby that day because there was snow flurries. It was cold, and that was the first bombing. And I know that if you've ever, when you've been in a bombing, like when the fucking foundation of the building sways and the percussive effect, that's a bomb.
Yeah.
But I missed it again on September 11th because it's kind of jumping ahead, but Tom and I, Tom had a speech in Vegas, and then we were going to go see a friend of ours who ended up being vice presidential nominee under Kerry, and he was having a strategy meeting. We had the reservations on the flight that went into the Pentagon.
No shit.
Yeah. So we didn't take that flight. We ended up taking our plane, but I've missed it twice.
That's fucking crazy. So, what
I've missed it twice.
Yeah, what does that? How does that affect your perspective on?
Well, I had my first panic attack after. I know it sounds so silly and so trite, but when 9/11 happened and my son's, my ex-husband, they had to move from Battery Park City. I still mentally walk through the old World Trade Center because I never want to forget my hands on the turnstile doors. I never want to forget my hands on the subway. But, that was a big thing. Probably the first time in my life where I questioned my mortality, maybe.
Yeah.
Or brought it into view.
Yeah. And especially the fact that you pushed your son around, in that same area and missed it by, because of weather.
Because of the weather, I missed it. But it was kind of a whole thing. I've missed it twice. It's kind of bizarre.
I know it.
I imagine you do.
So, having a son at 20 and, you'd been chasing your career at that point, so you had to put it on hold. How tough was that? I mean, obviously, like, it's one of those things you have no fucking choice, right? Like,
well, number one, I chose to have a baby, so there you go.
Yeah.
So, Erica, that's your choice.
Yeah.
But to say I missed it, I mean, that was I solely identified with my life and my career as a performer. So, of course, I missed it, and I wanted to do it again.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm still doing it now at 47 years old.
Yeah.
You know, tomorrow night.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you know, I'm on stage tomorrow night. So there you go.
Yeah, I know it. So back to you know, you spend several years kind of, you know, being mom as a full-time gig essentially. But you start to get back into you know, pursuing a career in tackling some TV shows and movies, and that was one of the things. Again, I didn't realize that you'd done as much acting as you had.
Yeah. Well, you know, you just do small things here and there, and they all add up. I've been doing it for a while.
Yeah. Do you find that is that something that, in the grand scheme of your life, in today, you know, today's day and age, or what you have going on now, that set you up for success in terms of performing, in terms of the show?
100% experience. All experience is good in that area. There's no bad experience when you're doing what you know, your skill set.
Yeah.
It's all a set of skills. Performing is a skill set.
Yeah, and so that definitely gave you some chops for now.
100%.
Yeah. That makes good sense. The what I found tough, and I could empathize with you, is that as you know, your son got a little bit older, and you got to the point where you had the ability to, you know, to move to LA and
Well, I had to. My back was against the wall. It wasn't working.
I guess, you know, from as a fellow parent, you know, what was that feeling like, being away from your son and moving
Horrible.
to? Yeah, can you
It's
talk about
devastating.
that?
You know, to think that you chose a better life that only you can see, and something that you can only see in your mind's eye. Trust me, it'll all work out. I mean, you can imagine how these people thought.
Mm-hmm.
My mother, my grandmother, my ex-husband. I think my ex-husband, my grandmother always knew I'd be fine. My mom was like, you know, she's going to work it out. My ex-husband probably thought I was a fucking maniac and just like, she's a lost cause.
Yeah.
Right. Who's winning now? But anyway, and I love you dearly, Tom, if you're listening. But only I could see it. It was in my mind's eye. I know that sounds insane, and to people who are listening are probably thinking, you know, this bitch is crazy. But I knew it was something that I had to do for the future.
Yeah.
So I gambled on myself, and I did it, and it worked out.
Yeah, well, I mean, to me,
Not without struggle, though.
Sure.
I mean, but it was ugly, and it was hard, and it's hard to, you know, if I were a doctor and I had an opportunity in Wisconsin, and I said to my family, you guys, I've got this great, you know, opportunity in Wisconsin, and I'm an MD, of course you would go, but I'm a fucking performer. Like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? And you have a small son. Like, are you okay? Like, you know, like, what the fuck do you think? Everybody thinks that. Everybody thinks they're going to hit it. Everyone thinks that it's all going to work out. I was like, no, I'm telling you, this shit is going to work out.
I mean, that's the only way to make shit happen. I mean, I can tell you, you know, similarly, I can't tell you how many people were like, you're fucking crazy, like giving a job up at you know, in a corporate oil company and starting a dog company, and like.
But you followed your heart, yes?
But similarly, I was like,
Yes.
you know, I removed the safety net. There's no, like, I'm not taking no for a fucking answer.
That's
Like,
right.
I'm going to make it happen, you know?
Make it happen. I will make a way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did that strain the relationship between you and your, because you got
Oh, it
married?
restrained the relationship between me and the world,
Yeah.
and the relationship with myself.
Sure.
I mean, it was probably some of the ugliest days of my life.
Yeah.
But all of that is okay, because that's all part of the journey,
Yeah.
and not a popular choice. And had I been a man, I mean, I hate to say this, but had I been a man, I'd have been given a little bit more leeway. But because I was a woman leaving a child, and people still like to give me shit for that.
Sure.
You know, you're fucking gold digger. You fucking ran off and left your kid. I'm like, yeah, well,
Yeah.
okay, sure.
Yeah. I mean, society.
But that's just how it is.
Yeah, society's
that's just the way it
full
is.
of double standards,
Of
you know, no
course.
doubt about it. Yeah, and I, you know, one of the things I find, you know, there's double standards on both sides, which means shit. That's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast.
But so you had one of the things I found, you know, again, not necessarily surprising, but as kind of the pieces of the puzzle of your life come together in this book, I come to the realization that it seemed like your grandmother was your mom, and your mom was more like an older sister.
This is true.
And so your grandmother, which you refer to as Granby, drives you out to L.A. in the move.
So my grandmother, who I miss every day of my life, wherever you may be, I love you. She believed in me, Mike, and she said, I know Erica's going to pull it off. And they knew that as outlandish as the plan sounded, they knew I was very disciplined. And that's the one thing I've always had is I've been incredibly disciplined. And that's the only thing that's ever gotten me through.
Yeah.
So she and I took the most magical trip for 5 days. We did not turn on the radio, and we drove across country
Fucking Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, very Thelma. I miss my Thelma. We drove across country from Atlanta to Los Angeles, and she helped me get my first apartment for $500 a month in Hollywood, which is now where my son is LAPD officer and patrols those same streets. So it's all fucking bizarre the way it comes around.
Yeah, the full circle aspect.
The full circle is bizarre.
I know
Yeah.
And so, that, again, like talking about the struggle and realizing, the amount of, hurdles that you've been through and mountains that you've climbed to get to where you're at. I think most people don't realize, but, hearing the kind of the stories of, starting out and going to all these auditions and granted, LA was a little easier than New York in terms of the auditions, but working in, is it pronounced Chasins or Chasins?
Yeah, Chasins. Yeah, old school.
But being a waitress and
Oh, I was a cocktail waitress, and I used to wait on the wealthy and the semi-wealthy and the pretending to be wealthy and celebrities. And I mean, I've waited on some legends as well. I mean, some people would walk through that door and I'd be like, oh my God. I had the pleasure of waiting on the legendary Sid Charisse, to me, who's like, the ultimate of performers of all time. And that was a great thing. I was out of the bar. I was definitely a step up from Jersey.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I learned a lot there as well.
Yeah. To me, one of the things that I found humorous was the amount of fucking dirt that you had on people.
Oh my God, yeah.
That came in there, like people.
I knew whose credit card got declined.
Yeah.
I knew who was banging the waitress out in the back. I knew who was doing blow in the fucking bathroom.
Yeah.
And when I would see these people, like when I married Tom, and then I would see them out like at the country club and shit like that, they'd be like, "Hi, Eric." I'm like, "Hey, what's up?"
They had to kiss your fucking ass.
Well, they were just quiet.
Yeah.
They were just very polite. They did not want to, and it was only a few, but LA's like that.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
Yeah. So speaking of Tom, he comes in there normally and you marry him. One of the things that, having met Tom, I remember when I delivered Tiago and we all went out to dinner. And
yes.
One of the things that I could certainly relate to the things that you were attracted to him by. Not that I'm attracted to Tom, but I love the casualness of him, and how respectful he is to everybody.
Yes,
like he doesn't treat anybody like the help.
No.
And that was one of the most refreshing things. As powerful and as brilliant and as successful and wealthy as he is,
he's a good man.
He treats everybody that like they're his best friend. And to me that's very valuable.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah. That's very sweet of you. I appreciate that, and I'll be sure to make him listen to this part of it.
Just this part.
Just this part.
Yeah, I'll isolate this clip.
But you know what? He is that guy, and that is one of the reasons that I am married to him and was so attracted to him, is that through all of his accomplishments, and he's still a very down-to-earth person.
Yeah.
He's just a kid that grew up by the airport that happened to be a really fucking smart guy.
Yeah. No, he seems like it. And another thing that surprised me was how easily you fell into kind of that, at first, that kind of supportive wife role.
Yeah.
That again, I think most people in seeing your persona, the Erika Jayne brand and personality that's on the show, for me, I found it very, very refreshing. That you kind of take that stance on a little bit more of a traditional, hearing about you laying his clothes out and making sure that shit's taken care of.
Well, he's my guy. I want him to look good, and if he doesn't look good, then I don't look good.
But
I'm not doing my fucking job if he's not squared away.
No, I agree. It's just,
that's how I look at it.
Yeah, but I think in today's day and age, there's a lot less of that. And again, I think to me, what I really appreciate and respect about what you bring to the table from a platform standpoint is saying, hey, motherfucker, you can do both. Like you can be you can be your own woman and support your husband.
Not without conflict.
Sure.
I mean, we have conflict.
Yeah.
That is true. Listen, he wants his wife home sometimes. Yeah. But the problem was he showed me how to do this, and he didn't think I'm his best student. So he showed me a little too much.
Well.
He taught me a little too well and showed me a little too much of the playbook, and then gave me the ball, and I ran for the end zone.
Yeah.
And he hadn't seen me since.
Yeah. No, I know it. Well, yeah, and one of the quotes that you put in here that I thought was very poignant was, especially in being married to a guy like Tom, as successful and powerful as he is, is not being lost in the shadow of a powerful man.
Yeah.
And your friend Travis from high school,
Yes.
when he told you to get the fuck off the bench, if you could kind of
Yep.
share that story of when you transferred from being in his shadow and supportive to.
So going back to my friend Travis, who I grew up with in Atlanta, Travis was probably one of the most brilliant dancers I've ever seen in my life. And from the time we were very young, we went to Performing Arts High School in inner city Atlanta, public school, Northside High. He was so good and so gifted that by the time he was 17, or 18, he was on the road with Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
He's just, he's
Just
that
that
guy.
guy, yeah.
Right. So he's toured the world and done everything there was. And then literally a invitation came in the mail to a show that one of Tom's friend's wives was doing, and it said directed by Travis. And I picked up the phone. I was like, what are you doing with this project? I was like, I just directed this for this girl, but more importantly, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not doing anything. I'm shopping on Rodeo Drive. What are you talking about? I'm posted up, man. Like, I'm not doing anything. And he was like, it's possible for you to be performing again. And I really wanted to hear that.
Yeah.
And I really wanted, I missed that part of myself because I had become Tom's wife. And I am completely and totally grateful for everything that Tom has ever fucking given me, shown me, taught me, whatever you can say. Provided for me. But there was also a sense that, you or I feel this way, and maybe this isn't a popular stance, but you can become a little too absorbed with your husband's career
Sure.
and start to identify with them solely and lose who you are.
Yeah.
And when Travis said, why don't you perform again? Why don't you do some things? I was like, yeah, why don't I?
Yeah.
I can only walk around. I can only work out so many times a day. I can only get so many fucking facials. I can only go to the plastic surgeon so many times. No, literally. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it sounds trite, and it's hard for the listener to understand, but this is really where I was.
Yeah.
And then I just said, what, fuck it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm throwing my hat back in the ring. I'm coming off the bench. Like,
Yeah.
I need to rediscover who I am at my core, who I was up until this point where I started to get into this wealthy coma.
Yeah. Well,
And I wasn't challenged, Mike.
no, I know what I mean.
And that is not cool.
Yeah, I mean the entire the meaning of life. It's one of the most common questions that I ask when I do speaking engagements and things. I start out with that. It's purpose, and to me, especially I think there's an element of the human condition that needs struggle and misery. It's got to be scaled and appropriate.
I say opposition.
Yeah.
I hate the word misery.
Yeah.
Opposition.
But I mean, you've got to be challenged.
You have to have the challenge.
and
you have to have the challenge.
Yeah, and especially given the background that you had of having such a challenging childhood.
Performance driven.
Yeah.
Imagine your dogs that you have, like your former working dogs. How bored are they?
Oh yeah. I mean, if they're not getting stimulated,
They're gonna
they
bite
lose
somebody,
their fucking
right?
yeah.
Okay?
They lose their
They're gonna
mind.
lose their fucking mind.
Yeah.
I felt the same way. Okay, I was a working dog that ain't working no more. Okay, so I needed to go get back in the
You had to
game.
get out the kennel.
I had to get out the kennel.
Yeah.
This bitch needed out the kennel.
So the reinvention of yourself, the pretty mess coin
Yeah.
phrase, which I thought was awesome with the license
Thanks.
plate. But yeah, I got a great picture of Tiago next to the
I
Lambo
love
with
it.
the pretty mess license plate, which is fucking great. But I wanted to read another excerpt that
Sure.
that kind of exemplifies you being an escape for people.
Oh, good.
So we just wrote it down. Then I was thinking about all the different roles you have to play as a woman. Sometimes you're a temptress, sometimes you're a princess, sometimes you're a pretty mess.
Yeah.
I wrote it out first as a poem. Everything you see, you want. Everything I am, I bought.
Mm-hmm.
It speaks to the facade of Erica Jane as a character, something that was still in its infancy when I was thinking about it, but it always had the notion of fantasy, love, and escape. Fantasy, love, and escape, glitz, glamour, and fun. Those 6 words are the set pieces that support the illusion of Erica Jane. In every song, every performance, every video, and every costume, it all comes back to those 6 concepts.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to ask, I mean, to me, like, that's what everybody is fucking looking for in their daily lives.
I
is
think
an
so.
Escape.
Is escape.
And so what does that mean to you to be an escape for so many fucking people? Because you are.
Thank you. I like to escape, and please come escape with me. I think that life is hard. It's full of opposition. It's full of struggle. I wanted to escape into a world of freedom. I wanted to express myself without condition. I wanted to be able to say things that people only thought. I wanted to express myself. I wanted to be sexually liberated and all this kind of stuff. And it just I don't know. I was fucking ballsy and I put it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just did it.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the neat things that I saw a parallel with even this podcast and what you went through is as you were creating the Erica Jane persona, there was...
And it is a persona. And thank you for saying that, because
sure.
so many people think that, there's a part of it that it's a costume, like it's a uniform.
Sure.
It's a persona. You put it on and then you put her away.
Sure.
I'm not her. So many people when they watch the show, they want to say, "Oh, you know what? You're fucking crazy. Like you have to, get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
It's a performance persona.
Yeah. Well, and I think from reading the book is that one of the reasons why I think you were so successful in being able to create that is that there was no creative interference.
Right.
Like that was the key to your success is that you didn't have
there was no corporate
labels
restraints.
there was no bullshit.
No restraints.
And that's actually why I love the Mic Drop podcast so much is similarly like, it's not CBS, it's not CNN, it's not Fox.
Mike.
Like, yeah, it's just, I don't
That's
have
Mike
anybody
Ritland.
telling me anybody what the fuck to do.
Right.
And so I can, I guess, see that parallel between you going through that process and a lot of people, myself included, again with being able to do that. What impact did that have in terms of your ability to capitalize on that?
Well, I learned how to monetize it, and here I
Yeah.
am now,
Yeah.
and it's great.
Yeah, crushing it.
And and thanks. And there's more to come.
Yeah.
There's great freedom in being yourself, and I have to say thank you to Tom for believing in me, underwriting me, and then really supporting me, because I don't know of a lot of husbands that would have put up with this shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know a lot of wives that put up with him either. But
Tom's not going to listen to that.
That's a two-way fucking street, baby. But I think that you're right. When you don't have constraints, when you're allowed to create from a pure place, and that's what I did. I just created from the heart, and I, whatever it was. Whether I failed, I didn't have expectations. It was pouring out of my soul.
Yeah.
It was just, and it is what it is. And it's not. Listen, I'm not going to change the world, and it's not considered high art. But I'll tell you what, it's fucking coming from my heart.
Yeah.
And that's all that's important.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think to me the biggest thing that's lacking in our society and the planet, for that matter, is authenticity.
Authenticity.
And so
Just be yourself. It's enough. I promise you.
Yeah, and that's what people are looking for.
They can feel it.
Yeah.
And they can smell it. And especially now, like on social media. I mean, the end user is very savvy.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
I mean, they know
Yeah.
who's bullshitting and who isn't.
Sure. Yeah, and so much of it is a brochure,
Absolutely.
But and there's another really good life lesson, I think, for everyone rather. That I think most people don't think applies to you. Again, like I saw a lot of those examples in here, but this is one that I tell people all the time. And again,
You really read this book.
I fucking did. Yeah.
You really
Well, I mean, I'm not.
It's so sweet of you to read my book.
Well, I mean, here's my
it's really
take: is
kind.
that I'm not going to waste your time. Like to me, as somebody who's been interviewed on my books, nothing pisses me off worse than when somebody's like, "Oh, you wrote a fucking book. Tell me about it." It's like, motherfucker,
why don't you tell me about it? Why don't you ask me a question?
But here's one of the things that I tell a lot of people, and I found very refreshing in seeing that you've gone through this and we're able to put this forward to everybody. I had to get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. You really have to live and breathe in those moments because that's where growth is. The growth isn't when things are good, it's when it's horrible and you stay in it. You improve when you're unsure and it's a struggle. We all have to look stupid and feel like shit in order to evolve. Again, to me, that
has to parallel your training.
Yeah, it absolutely does. I mean, it's building thresholds, stress thresholds. I mean, that's the name of the game with dog training.
Is that right?
Absolutely, it is. No different than working out or anything. Is that you've got to have the ability to scale and strategically increase your ability to take certain amounts of stress and pressure.
That's right.
That's how you build a dog up in terms of apprehending people that want to fucking kill them. But no different than in life is that there's calculated and scaled amounts of stress that actually build you up and build your confidence.
And every performance, even the performance I'm going to give tomorrow, which I'm already thinking about. I treat every performance, whether it was 2 people or 2 billion, like it was the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know, that's just who I am inside. I will never change.
Yeah.
I stress over the most mundane shit.
Yeah.
And it is in those moments when you are uncomfortable, when you are hitting the wrong notes, when you are out of sorts, when you're when you're going the wrong way, when you look like an ass, when you look fat because you haven't been training, when your costume isn't right because whatever. You know, those are the moments that you learn from.
Yeah.
And those are the moments that you really buckle down and you go, okay, I have 2 choices here.
Yeah.
You're either going to work this out or you're going to go fucking hang your head as a failure and go home.
Yeah.
And I refuse.
Yeah. Fucking hero or zero moment.
You're right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Your first album, Pretty Miss, I love that you equate it to a in quote, wobbly fawn trying to stand.
Yep.
But I see a lot of similarities in all walks of life when you look back at when you first start out things and you're like, I mean, I know even with my training book, like there's times where I'll look through it and I'm like, Christ, I can't believe I put that fucking
But that's
in it.
okay.
You know, yeah, but
We all start somewhere.
yeah, what did that teach you in terms of looking back on it now? And
That you have to have the balls to start.
yeah,
That nothing happens if you don't have the balls to put it out there.
yeah,
And own it. And then it's really one foot in front of the other and you have to stay disciplined and you have to stay focused.
yeah,
And that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, I'm never ashamed of where I've come from or if I've failed or if I've choked or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's all part of what will happen tomorrow and the next day and the next day. You
Yeah.
know,
The
you
learning.
can pretty much throw anything at me now and I'm like, okay, I got somewhat of a plan to solve this issue. Yeah.
yeah, or you've seen it before.
I've seen it before.
Yeah, yep.
There's a workaround. There's
yeah.
always a way I can get it done.
Yeah, no, I know it. And again, another, I think, really good life lesson, not just for women in the shadows, but it kind of tells a bigger story of just getting after it, is the next excerpt I'm going to read here. And I promise this is the last one.
That's okay.
I like to say that without Erica Jane, Erica Girardi would just be another rich bitch with a plane. That is true. After all of those years of living Tom's life, there was nothing more I could buy. There were no clothes collections, no garages full of cars, no amount of anything that was going to bring me the level of satisfaction that I have today. Without my project, I would have been relegated to a life of shopping, sitting on a few charity boards of no consequence, and standing silently by my husband's side, full of unrealized potential. That was what I was expected to do. Instead, I do what I love. I create. Even more than anyone else needed, Erica Jane needed to escape. I did.
Yes.
You know-
I stand by that 100%. That is true.
Yeah, and again, I think it just for people out there listening is that, you know, I think I know a lot of people don't realize, you know, some of these things about you, that if they just watch the show, they haven't read the book, that you know, that don't realize that about you, but on kind of a broader spectrum, is that for everybody out there is that if you have a dream, fucking chase it. I mean,
Absolutely.
you know, that-
And chase it like it's your last drop. But here's the thing. You know, people think money makes you happy, and it does. It cures the immediate needs. You know, the lights aren't going to go off and shit like that. The car's not getting repossessed. But it also gives you a chance, when you have money, to sit there and really think about who you are as a person and what are you doing. And, you know, how do you really feel about this? Like, what else is there for you? And I turned to creating, which is what I knew to do. And I did that. And that's what made me happier than
Yeah.
buying out anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, purpose and feeling like you're making a difference is what makes people happy.
Yeah,
you know?
whether you're, you know, I mean, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
And everybody's different.
Yeah. So as you get into the performance career, I love the importance, or if you can speak to kind of the importance of hiring Mikey Minden, but also the importance of staying true to who you are. And this really resonated with me because you didn't listen to that big music industry veteran that told you to fucking chill out and you know, regulate some of your persona. I run into the same thing, like, you know, things I talk about on here and then the way I swear and some of the...
Oh, my mouth is the worst.
Yeah, you know, but I'm the
Which is
same
why
way.
we're friends.
Yeah, I know it. But if you can talk about kind of just I know he's one of your best friends. He's kind of a...
He's, you know, when I met Mikey, he was 24 years old and wild, and probably the closest thing to Bob Fosse that I've ever seen. And here with me tonight in Dallas, because we're fucking giving a show tomorrow. And Mikey pushed me in a way pushed boundaries. You know, if I had an idea, he was like, yes, that's a great idea, but why don't we go further? Mikey encouraged, he was one of those people, I don't know if you've had this in your life, Mike, that, you know, they collaborate with you and they go, but you know, there's more here and you should really go for that. And he really propelled me in that way. And I was able to become a stronger, more confident performer and personality, if you will, because of him.
Sure.
Yeah, and we're very, very close.
Yeah. No, I mean, he sounds like that, almost a muse in certain ways, but you know, just a confidant and somebody that's you know, been a life altering relationship for all the good reasons. I do have to ask: does he always call you bitch?
Yes, and it's great, and that's okay. You look bitch. You're gonna have to. Yeah,
No, I love it.
Yeah,
I mean,
you know, but that's how we speak. You know, but that's a term of endearment.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you have some.
No,
you know,
no,
you know.
motherfucker or ass.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
you
I
know,
get-
cocksucker, whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's who we are, and that's our relationship.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's you can see it. I mean, you get that feeling in the book of how important he is to you, and he seems like an amazing guy. Having
Yeah,
never
he's
met
a great
him.
guy. He's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Obviously, there's a huge connection with Erica Jane and your performance career to the gay community. One of the things that it seemed like a parallel was kind of that, because you don't give a fuck, you are who you are, you embrace it mentality. If you could kind of explain to to that symbiotic relationship and why you're so popular. I mean, I'm assuming that's a big reason. Is there anything else to it?
Well, I was raised in the arts, and you know, how I came up was whoever was good got the job. Like if you were skilled, you were skilled. It didn't matter what color you were, what, you know, sexual orientation you were, whether you're gay, straight, black, white, whatever, rich, poor, whatever. If you were good, you were good. You got the role.
Yeah.
And I have, you know, gay people are my friends, my family, my mentors, my teachers, and you know, being in the arts, they kind of are the cutting edge of the creators, and that's who I grew up with. And you know, the LGBTQ community's had a hard time, and they have drawn this incredible inner strength, and I drew from that.
Yeah.
You know, and they propelled me in a way. And so my relationship with the LGBT community goes back to the time I was in children's theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way back.
Yeah, way back.
Yeah. Seemed like you get
I didn't jump on the bandwagon because it was popular.
yeah, no shit.
No, these are my dearest friends,
Yeah.
my family, my friends.
Yeah. That's it's a neat relationship in terms of you know how popular you are, I guess, within.
I think that they like my, you know, my sense of a little rebelliousness.
Yeah.
Like, this is who I am. This is
Yeah.
who I am, and I'm good enough. And
Yeah.
and you know, I think that the LGBTQ community has fought very hard to say, hi, we're great. You know, stop trying to fucking change us. We're
Yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah, I hear you. Moving on to, you know, kind of chronologically going through your performing career as Erica Jane morphs into, and then getting into the Housewives, which we'll get into in a minute. But probably one of the neater parts, because of my background and reading in the book, was when you performed for the troops. I know for me and for a lot of us, is that, you know, the experience of being deployed or just whether it's forward deployed on a ship, whether it's in a forward operating base in the Middle East, you know, what have you, is that there's an element of, you know, most of that job is just riddled with
I couldn't imagine
with
that job.
chaos and stress and the threat of real violence, you know, that persists around your life 24/7. And when people like you come over and give us as troops an escape, you know, you have a recurring theme of being an escape for the LGBT community, for
I'm an escape artist.
housewives
escape
that
artist.
are fucking miserable. But for troops, it's the same thing.
Is that right?
You know, no different than when you go to a movie and you have 2 hours of just not having to worry about a fucking thing.
Right.
That's what, you know, when you guys come perform, that's what it provides. And to me, it was really cool having sat through some performances, you know, having been deployed and seeing that is how big of a deal it is for us, because I know you guys don't have to do it. It's not like you're making jack shit to do it.
Well, that's not why I was there.
Yeah, but that's my point, though, is
Yeah,
that there's a lot of celebrities and performers that don't do that shit.
And I do it again, by the way.
Yeah.
I do it again. It was one of the greatest few days of my life, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, the 4th of July on Steel Beach on the USS Enterprise, if you can, I know it was 127 degrees, if you can kind of
If I can do that, do you know that I rely on that performance a lot? So we're on Enterprise. So this is okay. So this is how this happened. Tom comes home to me and he says, "Hey, you're gonna go do this thing in the Middle East." And I go, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, my husband, he's insane. Yeah. And I go, "What are you talking about?" "There's this guy I know. He does this thing, and you're gonna go perform." And I was like, "Well, Tom, I need more information. Like, I don't know anything about this." Anyway, I end up on flight deck of Enterprise, Steel Beach. And no one's paying attention to me and my girls performing, but it is 127 degrees. You know what's even funnier is this is so stupid, I'm going to tell you this. I had a nose job like 6 weeks earlier, so I had 2 fucking black eyes. Yeah. So it was but it was the greatest show of my life. Yeah. And it was the greatest performance. It was probably the most challenging physically and mentally. Yeah. And we had a chance to sit with the young men and women on the Enterprise, and our liaison took us down and why they joined the Navy. And I mean, like that, I can't even talk about it because I'll start crying here. Some of those stories of there were no jobs at home. It was some very real shit.
Yeah.
Very real shit.
No, I know it.
Sorry.
No, I don't mean to
choke up on you, but that was probably, that's when you realize, you know what, Erica? You really live a blessed life.
Yeah. Well, and again, I mean, to me, having been in that position and same thing, like I remember serving with guys that I was just like, holy fuck.
Holy shit. Like,
yeah, I mean, the shit that they've been through and why they're here and there's a million of them, but to me, it resonated with me.
Sorry, I didn't mean to break down.
No,
Sorry.
I didn't mean to drag that out of you, I guess, but for me, it was really, really powerful and neat to read that you did that and how big of a deal it was to you. It was
hey, and our Admiral Carter, who drugged me around and gave me like a naval history lesson, he's like, "Hey, come here, I'm going to teach you some Navy history." I was like, "Okay," and showed me all these things, and then we had to go to the little museum inside Enterprise, and I guess there was like a massive fire on Enterprise. So I got the whole thing. Yeah. What do you want to know about the Navy? I know. But anything you want to know, I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a special 4 days for sure.
And and some of your crew got the full benefit of sleeping in the
I didn't, but they did.
You got the.
I got the suite. Yeah. No, I slept somewhere differently, but yeah, they slept. They got it was fucking hot on that thing.
No, it's fucking miserable on a ship.
Miserable.
Yeah, it's terrible.
People don't realize how miserable that is.
Oh, it's fucking sardines in there, and you smell diesel fuel, and the AC breaks, and it.
There was no AC. Yeah. If that was AC, they had a. That's not, and that was her last cruise, I guess it's called. Yeah. And so they put her away.
Yeah.
She was old.
Decommissioned. Yep. So on a lighter note,
thanks for making me break down on your podcast.
My apologies. Who am I kidding? I'm not fucking sorry.
Good.
The big pivot, and again, I can relate to this and doing online training and pivoting to the podcast and things like that, is that the big pivot to Housewives. It seems like singing and performing kind of had lost its luster for you a little bit.
I had quit.
Yeah, you'd done everything you wanted to do, and
I had done everything I wanted. I could have done, and I couldn't see it. I didn't know what was next. There was nothing else left to do. I'd run out of sideline, if you will. Yeah. I had done everything, and then.
Yeah, if you can just kind of walk the listener through that pivot to now, getting picked up with Housewives and what that was like.
So I had done every show, like, even these crazy shows, and all over the world. I mean, I've been everywhere, and there was no more music to make. There was not another performance to give. I was kind of stuck in this purgatory and had I quit, and I didn't tell anybody. And I kept it to myself. This friend of mine was like, "Hey, I want you to meet this," he's really huge, manager, and I've always remained anonymous. And I had this meeting with him. He's like, "Yeah, I know who you are. You can, go spend some more money, make some more records. But, this is not going anywhere." He goes, "You know what you need? You need a pivot." I was like, "What the fuck is he talking about? Quit?"
He didn't give you a specific example.
No, he's like, "You know what? You need that pivot. You need that pivot in your life." Yeah. And I was like, the fuck? So I get in the car and I go home. I have had it. Like I'm sitting, I can tell you what I was wearing. I was wearing my black jumper, and I was sitting in my son's room. I think he was at work, and I was just like, you know what, fuck it, Erica. Like you've done enough, you've created enough, you've done everything you wanted to do. Forget it. Like go to school, or whatever. I don't know. And then like less than 2 weeks after that, Housewives happened.
Yeah.
And it was just a random thing. It was so very random at my friend's house, and she was sick, and I was talking to her, and she looked at me and she goes, you know what you need to do? You need to be on the show with me.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there I was. And life reopened.
Yeah.
The whole thing, it's like it burst at the seams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of and again, after you explain it, I'm like, fuck, that makes actually a lot of sense. But I laughed again. I thought it was a funny comparison of comparing Housewives to pro wrestling.
It is.
If you can kind of go
well,
off.
they're villains.
Yeah.
There's your good guys. There's your villains. I've been a villain.
Yep.
We have everything with wrestling except for pyrotechnics.
Yeah.
So, but
well, that's coming next.
That's
season.
coming next year. But there's drama. There's good guys. There's bad guys. There's costumes. There's over the top. Scenarios. And so yes. Men have wrestling and women have Housewives.
Yeah.
And you have your favorites, and you root for your favorites, and there you go.
Yeah. Well, and it's an obvious double-edged sword. There's pros and cons of reality TV, but what I thought was neat and kind of revealing was that you say ultimately it's fucking business.
Yes.
But can you kind of speak to the personal impact of that double-edged sword that is reality TV? Because I think a lot of people that watch and are supporters are like, that's fucking, you're lucky and whatever, but
you are lucky.
But there's a negative.
Lucky. There's a negative. Here's the thing. The negative is that people expect that you are 100% what you are portrayed on as a TV show, and they don't understand that at the end of the day, it's entertainment.
Yeah.
So, yes, you're seeing truth, and yes, you're also seeing it through, it's a TV show.
Yeah.
Never forget that. If I was going to make like a documentary, it'd look completely different.
Yeah. But I guess the thing that at least for like me thinking of me being in that position or trying to project myself into that position is you don't get to pick, what gets aired and what like you look.
I have
look
no.
like shit,
Listen, I go to if I look like shit and I've looked like shit and I've reacted to somebody and been mean to them, then I got to roll with that because that's the way it is. The only thing you can't say. You gotta take it on the chin.
Yeah.
You just gotta take it on the chin.
Do you get used to the cameras being there, or is it?
Yeah. Well, that's the danger is that you do get used to it, and then you start fucking up and saying how you really feel.
There's no filter.
Yeah. No, because you can pull your punches when you're in control, but if you have a couple of drinks and forget the cameras are there, then you start really. Yeah. I've gotten in that position too. I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
And that's not good either.
Sure. Yeah.
There's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we'll get back to the Housewives, but during that time, you sign on with Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, yeah.
I won't spend a lot of time on it, but it seems, between reading and just thinking about it seems like a real kick in the lady balls, in your case, from your description and what have you. But I found it interesting in that the way you describe it is that, from the competition aspect, it's way more about the people and their story than it is the actual dancing. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, well, I think that it's both. And it is a show about people. It is a show about struggle and competition and overcoming and learning and discipline and all of those things set to the backdrop of dance.
Yeah.
Set to the backdrop with costumes and stuff like that. Yeah. They really want to get to know who you are. It's like all shows. They want to peel back those layers of the onion and expose.
Yeah.
Why do you do what you do? Who are you really at your core?
Yeah.
And then express that through dance.
Yeah. Well, I think...
And you know me, I'm an ass, so I was just it's like fighting to
Comes
the nail.
natural.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it seemed like the biggest learning experience, in kind of dovetailing onto that, is that you say there is such a thing as being too much woman.
Yeah.
Is that, that seemed to be kind of your downfall, is that they...
Well, yeah, they wanted Erica Jane, and then when they got her, they called her trashy.
Yeah,
and then I was
raunchy.
like, raunchy, excuse me, raunchy.
Yeah.
Same thing in my brain. But yeah, they called her raunchy. And I thought, fuck, oh man, this is where it's going.
Yeah.
This is where it's going. Like, did I overplay my hand, or was this the way it was going to be? Like, what'd I do wrong? Instead of just going out and having a good time dancing to my song "Expensive," which is hilarious in my brain, Yeah, it was a little raunchy. I was like, but wait a second. The other people just did the same thing we
Yeah.
did.
And you
You
busted
didn't
my
call them
chops.
raunchy. As a matter of
Yeah.
fact, they did a lot more than I did. But somehow or another, I was raunchy. But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Overall, looking back on it, one of the things you say in there is that you didn't like who you became during that.
I did not.
What can you say about that?
I was very short tempered. I was very emotional in a way that I don't like. I was taking it personally, and it shouldn't have been personal. I should have taken it a little bit more lightly, and I should have been a little bit more. I should have enjoyed the process more, and I shouldn't have really cared when I got cut or or anything like that. Instead, I wanted to do a good job, and I wanted to nail it, and that gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What is the schedule like?
Oh, that's an everyday. That's a 7 days. That's all day, 6 days.
All fucking day.
Yeah, she's tough. She's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're brutal. I've never been in better shape.
No shit.
Oh my God.
I mean,
yeah.
even with the
I was
rehearsals.
tight, like tight.
Taut.
I mean,
Taut like a tiger?
I was strong and tight.
Yeah.
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 Almost a little too strong.
Yeah. Do you, looking back on it now, what's?
But emotionally, I was a wreck.
Yeah. Are you glad you did it?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things it's one of those mountains you have to climb again.
Yeah.
It's one of those challenges that I enjoy putting myself in situations that are uncomfortable. I enjoy seeing how I react. And I'm okay to fail. I don't like it, but I will do it because I feel like there's something to be gained from that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's again it's just that recurring theme of good learning experiences.
Yeah. And my life is richer for it. Mike,
Yeah.
What am I going to say? No.
Yeah.
It's fucking.
Well, and one of the things that you mentioned in there that I'm going to clear up is I think you're cute. Since you say in your book nobody will ever say that about you, I'm going to go
It's
ahead and be the
cute.
first
Thank
to
you,
say it.
baby.
Moving back to the some of the housewives things, I have a few questions that I wanted to
yes.
just throw at you. I know some of them maybe you can answer.
Do you
maybe
watch
can't.
Housewives? Be honest. You don't.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't watch TV.
Thank
period,
God.
so-
Okay, good.
Because I was going to say, what's the fucking deal with Dorit? Right?
You know what? Dorit is insane, but great. Not insane. That's not fair. She's a good time, and she's people. Sometimes we didn't start off on the right foot, but we're getting along right now, so she's okay.
Yeah. I mean, Dorit
She's a
could
lot of
walk
fun.
in here and sit on my face, and I wouldn't know who it is. So I'm.
That's great. Well, you might after. You never know. You might like it. So there you go.
But the some of the elements of the show, though, I think I've watched clips, and again, like I don't like to come underprepared to any.
I can tell.
But would you call her a friend at this point? I know
Yes.
there's a lot of drama.
We had. I was with her last night, and we're friendly.
Yeah.
I like watching Dorit grow and watch her get back into the swimwear business, and I like watching all of my friends on the show spread their wings. I
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah.
We're all businesswomen, and we're all working, and I love to see that about
Yeah.
us.
One of the most popular questions that I know people want to ask, and again, I don't know how much of this you can get into, and you'll tell me to fuck off. I have no doubt. But does the production of the entire process, do they set scenarios
No.
up? It's all organic.
It's organic. That's why you see me lose it.
Yeah.
I get pissed. That's
you-
why I look like a jerk.
Yeah.
Because I can't even Meryl Streep on her best day couldn't come up with some of this shit.
Yeah.
Like some of the reactions to things. I mean, and you never know. The thing about Housewives is you never know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Like the night could be going great, like you and I right now, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, something will happen, and it's on.
Yeah.
It's just kind of it's bizarre. It's a bizarre experience.
Well, I mean,
Makes you fast though. Makes you quick study.
Yeah.
And you are your head is on a swivel.
yeah. Well, the abundance of estrogen will do that. No two ways about it. Is there a housewife that's the most inviting? It seems like Lisa Rinna, you have probably the best
I
relationship
love
with.
Lisa Rinna. I miss my friend Yolanda who brought me on the show. I'm good friends with Kyle.
Yeah.
I like all the women for very specific reasons.
Yeah. Is there one that you kind of
Butt heads with the most.
or well both get along with the best and butt heads with the most?
I talk to Lisa Rinna a lot.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed getting to know Denise this year. She's cool. I like everybody, but there are times when I would, want to like kill them all.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that they want to kill me most of the time, too.
As noticing what's on the back of your phone.
Oh, you're a cunt.
You're a cunt.
Yes, you're a cunt, yeah.
Is it just a little friendly reminder?
That's just a friendly reminder to anybody that's watching me on the phone. Yeah, it's just, that's just who I am. What can I say?
Brilliant.
You're a cunt.
So, kind of a follow-up with Dorit, the first season she started the whole Pantygate thing. With PK, did a lot of lying. The last season, you seemed to become friends with her, but she still did a lot of lying. How do you really feel about her at this point? Like, is there a dichotomy with that, or?
Yeah, you accept people for what they are, and she's out there trying to make it just like everybody else, and so when it comes my way, and if I have something to say about it, I'll say it. I'm not one to, I just saw them last night, and they were very friendly and very sweet. So it's a day-by-day thing.
Yeah.
I will react to you the way you react to me.
Sure.
It's always on you. I will give you the girl that you want.
Yeah.
Like, if you're cool, we're cool. You want to be a dick? Let's get it on.
You're the mirror.
I will mirror you. Is that what that is? Mirroring?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I do the same thing with dogs. Like, if they
right?
come out of the gate wanting a shot at the title, like,
Let's get it on.
Let's dance.
Let's do this, right?
If they're neutral, I'm neutral.
I'm neutral,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If you're sweet, I'm sweet.
Yeah. What is your and Teddy's friendship like at this point?
Really good.
Really good?
Yeah, really good. We're actually getting along really well.
Yeah. What do you
I think she finally understands
Yeah.
a little bit of
what
who
the
I
deal
am.
is? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a lot. It's a lot to take. I get it.
What do you think of the new housewife, Denise Richards?
I think she's a good time.
Yeah.
You know how I know she's a good time? Because she drinks her tequila neat at like noon.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, shit.
She
Denise.
was married to Charlie Sheen, so.
I mean, do you need to say? Can you
What else
follow
do you
up
need?
that?
Yeah.
Can you follow that up?
Yeah.
No. Denise is cool. She just got married to a really nice guy, Aaron, and I was texting with her this morning. She's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
She's nice girl.
Yeah. Is there a housewife that on both ends of the spectrum that you like the most or dislike the most? I'm sure it changes. Or
I mean, right now they're all kind of in the good pile. Right now, I'm not really butting heads with anybody. I would like to say we fight like sisters, but I don't have sisters, so I don't know. But yeah, right now everything is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't give away too much plot. I can't.
Speaking of
it's all fucked up, babe.
Yeah.
I just can't say it.
Yeah. Is there any tidbit that you can give us that no one knows it's coming, or is that?
It's about dogs.
It's about dogs. No shit.
I think.
Does Tiago make a fucking cameo?
Maybe you know he's the star of the show.
I do.
Come on.
I do.
You know our guy is
I know.
lead
He's
actor.
the varsity
man.
fucking squad.
Hello.
I do love that you have a picture of him in the book. I found that very flattering.
Of course, that's
was
my
awesome.
guy. Are you kidding? Do you know the joy? And I really want your listener to understand this. The joy that you have brought my family by bringing that animal into our home. I mean, he is exquisite, Mike. And I send you pictures and stupid videos all the time.
I love it.
Like at 4:30 in the morning, you'll get some dumb video from me. Hi, we thought we'd say hi.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
but
that's great.
He's special, Mike.
Yeah. No,
He's
I mean,
special.
for me, that's
Which is why we have to have puppies, Mike.
I know it. I'm working
You need
on
to
it.
get on that.
I'm working on
You
it.
need to find some bitch around
Got to
here.
find a good bitch to
All
get
right.
bred.
Okay.
For me, that's the reason I do it, and without a doubt, the best compliment I can receive from a client is to have that kind of a life-changing impact in putting a dog in your house. So
Well,
it's
my
fine.
husband hated dogs and was bit by, as
Yeah.
the paper boy was bit
I
many
remember, yeah.
times. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the only dog that he's ever had. And he swears that, that this is the greatest thing ever. And he is. I mean,
Yeah.
Tiago's genius.
Yeah, well, I love it. That's awesome to hear.
And I'm always out there repping Tricos.
I know it.
I'm always out there repping Tricos, repping Mike Ritland. I'm always like, you guys got to get a dog from Mike. You got to get a dog from Mike.
No, I appreciate the hell out of it very much. Just a couple of random
Yes.
questions before we wrap up here. Do you have a favorite show across the board, like TV show?
Yeah. I usually watch like either gangster shows or Snapped. Oh my God. That's just, yeah.
That's the guilty pleasure.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite reality show other than Housewives?
Do I have a favorite reality show other than, no.
Nothing.
No.
No Big Brother or anything like that.
No, I've never watched Big Brother.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't watch TV. Period.
No. You know what my reality show is? The news.
Yeah, no
Because
shit.
I'm in reality TV,
Yeah,
so my escape is the news,
Yeah.
and I watch it all. I
Yeah.
watch CNN, Fox, everybody.
Yeah.
Hell, I'll even watch fucking Al Jazeera.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even care. I need to know what everybody's saying.
Yeah, I mean, Al Jazeera, all bullshit aside, is probably better than
most
anybody
honest.
else in terms of just reporting
It is
the
what it
things
is,
the way
yeah.
it is and not
I
having to
agree.
be as slanted. But do you have a favorite artist and song right now?
Yeah, Erica J. No.
So modest.
Yeah, so modest. No, I don't.
Pass. You're gonna punt that one.
No, I'm not. No, you know what? I like to watch an artist like Cardi B come up off reality TV and do her thing, and
Yeah.
it's nice to see her win
Yeah.
right now.
Which reminds me of one of the stories in the book. Having Christina Aguilera be such a fan to ask you to come perform at her
And
birthday
then, you know,
party.
I did lip sync battle for her.
Yeah, tell me about that.
No, I mean, you know, she's
That's
a
pretty
legend.
fucking cool.
Oh my God, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm shitting my pants. Yeah, and we've become friends through the show. She watches the show, and she reached out, and she's very cool and incredibly talented, and that's it just was like a little bit of effort confirmation.
Sure.
Like, hey,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
Was it? I guess not anxious, but almost intimidating singing for her.
Beyond
Yeah.
intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she's a legend.
Yeah.
You know, she's done everything that there is to do.
Yeah, that's some good
And
shit.
when she says, "Hey, could you come do this?" It's like, ugh, what are you gonna say? No.
Yeah,
You know, I was
yeah.
like, "Yeah, I'll be right there. Not a problem."
Yeah.
Vomited after.
Yeah, no shit. Have you met anybody that you've become starstruck in meeting them?
Honestly, no.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I wish somebody would sweep
Yeah.
me. I wish somebody would knock me out. Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody you'd like to collaborate with
I
music-wise?
never answer that question.
You never answer?
No, I don't.
It's too
It's
much
just-
favoritism.
I don't know. Just I'm not there.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
there.
No, I'm tracking. I won't, keep putting you on the spot with
Keep
with any
going.
of
You
those
can
questions,
keep, you do whatever you want.
But a couple of things before we wrap it up here is
I've never had a more thorough interview. My God,
well,
Jesus.
good. Well, that's the goal. Again, I don't like to waste people's time, and to me, if here's kind of a synopsis on interviews from my standpoint is that if the general gist of the interview can be ascertained by spending 3 minutes on Google by Googling that person's name, you're wasting the listener's fucking time.
I agree.
You know, and so to me, like the last thing I want to do is have it be that. Like there's got to be more to it so that people are getting something out of it. You know, because if they're not, again, like what's the fucking point? There's
Well, I hope they don't hate you for this.
no, fuck them if they do. They can choke
I
themselves.
just love it that you would even have me on your show.
No,
It's great.
well, and that brings me to the point of I know you're busy as shit. You got a million things going on. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to host us here to be able to conduct the interview at your residence temporarily here in Dallas. But the last thing that I wanted to say is kind of from a personal standpoint is that the persona that you have internationally is what it is, and it's very almost predetermined or very
Sure.
very assumed. For the listeners out there, again, I've known you for several years, and to me, between reading the book, knowing you for as long as I have, knowing how genuine you are, how no bullshit, and
Thank
how
you.
incredibly authentic and sweet you are.
Thank you.
But what struck me more than anything was when I delivered Tiago and met your son.
Oh, yeah.
Was to me that there is no greater tell of a human being than seeing what their kids are like in terms of how they are and what kind of job they've done raising them. And while I know it takes a village and that there's multiple people, tons of people responsible for raising children, the mother is the matriarch of that and the prime and principal influence in a child's life. And to see the type of man that he is and what he's doing now, being a cop for LAPD, his demeanor, his presence, his manners, his moral compass, and what he does, given the opportunities and resources that he has with you and doesn't have to do that and still chooses to do that.
He's a fine young man.
Speaks volumes to who you are. And
speaks volumes to who he is.
Well, but
Thank
that
you.
doesn't happen by accident, you know. And
Well,
so,
I was going to kick that kid's ass if he thought he was going to get out of line.
but for me, it was very refreshing to meet your son and see what kind of man he is, you know, given you know the background that you have and you know the life that you lead now. To see such a well-rounded, kick-ass human being, it was very, very neat and refreshing.
That
to
is
see
the
it.
nicest thing anyone has ever said to me. Thank you, and I'm not going to cry again on your fucking podcast. But thank you. You know what? I appreciate that. Yes, and I remember those days that we spent together. And thanks for noticing.
Yeah,
that means a lot. And you know what? I wanted him to be that way.
Yeah.
I wanted him to. He did have access to a lot, and but again, it's who he is on the inside.
Yeah.
He's a fine young man.
Yeah,
fine young man.
he's a reflection of his mom. So
no, but thank you. I think he looked at his mother and said no thanks.
Well,
I think he looked at his
way,
mom and
right?
was like, no fucking way, man.
Either way.
I'm going the other way.
Yeah, either way. Again, I appreciate you coming on here. Is there anything you'd like to say? Anything you appreciate or want to?
I'm glad that we got to do this because we talked about it.
Yeah.
And I hope that you haven't lost all your listeners. And thanks for being so prepared. This was a lot. And thanks for reading the book.
No, my
and
pleasure.
you know I adore you.
Yeah.
And you're always welcome in our home. And,
I appreciate it.
you know, anytime
much.
you come out to Los Angeles, you know you have a place.
And likewise, I appreciate it.
you.
Maybe I can learn some other dance move that's.
You can come out. You know what? We'll get you on the show if you want to be on the show. We'll fuck your life up real good.
Good shit. So, in keeping in tradition with all closings, feel free if you don't like the fact that I do what I do and how I do it, feel free to choke yourself. And but ultimately, and more importantly, and seriously, I appreciate everybody listening. Without you guys, we wouldn't have this show and this platform to be able to bring you what we have the pleasure and honor to bring you. I love you guys. Appreciate your support. And until next time, this is Mic Drop.